I'd love if you could just give 30 seconds, and you told me not to ask you this, but I want 30 seconds on what Mobileye is, what Menti is, and a little bit on AI that everyone can go back and look at later on.
Okay, so Mobileye is a 4,000 people company. It's traded on NASDAQ. I think about 20% of worldwide vehicles today on the planet have a Mobileye technology. So Mobileye sells chips with software for driving assist, front-facing camera that performs all the safety requirements, systems with multiple cameras, working on autonomous driving, about to deploy together with the Volkswagen robo-taxis across the US and Europe later this year. So we're all full stack, from driving assist to more premium cars, hands-off systems, up to robo-taxis, and we're fully integrated: silicon, software, electronics, everything. Menti is the company I founded 4 years ago to build the humanoid robots. 2 weeks ago, Mobileye acquired Menti, so it's now part of the Mobileye group, taking the full scope of physical AI or embodied AI, where AI is on a platform that interacts with the real world. That's cars and humanoid robots. AI is a company I founded 2 years ago. It's still nascent, but it's working on building super intelligent. In kind of a sentence AI today is focused on productivity and GDP growth. AI in the future, I believe, would be working on kind of overcoming the bottlenecks of humanity. And the biggest bottleneck of humanity are experts. People that have incredible capability of solving problems in very specific domains, whether it's science, mathematics, medicine, physics, writing code, optimizing code, all areas which experts are needed, and those experts are scarce. Those experts are rare, very expensive, and if you look at the progress of humanity, those Newtons of the world, Einsteins of the world, they are responsible for taking humanity's envelope and pushing it forward. And if AI can do that, if a single computer can do that, imagine what 1 million computers can do. So this is what AI is working on. So more than 30 seconds. This is why I told you, don't ask me that question.
I kept saying, I had 15 questions prepared, and he looked at me and said, I'm going to talk forever on 3 questions. But thank you for letting me fit that in.
Yeah.
Maybe starting on the theme of today, because it really is today, robo-taxis. And you and I have been talking a bit about how those systems have evolved over time, and what do you think, Amnon, really differentiates the systems of today and the embedded AI versus even what we saw 5 years ago?
So what has changed is the level of learnable versus non-learnable components of a system and the level of integration. So if we look at the decade before, starting from 2013, the engine of choice was called convolutional networks. So you build a system in which the camera images would be processed to find patterns in the image. That was using learnable, data-driven technologies with an engine called convolutional net. And then everything else was using algorithms or non-learnable components, like lifting to 3D, doing ego motion, putting together different viewpoints, tracking objects over time, and then also doing the driving policy, the decision making, which was based on classic reinforcement learning called MDP, Markov decision processes. So that was a technology up till 2021, 2022. Today, the technology, let's call them the transformers technology, is based on language. What does that mean? Everything can be described by language. If you look at what are the basic atoms of language, they are called tokens. These are words. So everything can be tokenized, whether it's an image, whether it's text, whatever you can think of, if it can be described by language, it can be tokenized. So now imagine a network which receives tokens as input and outputs tokens. So basically, everything can be learnable if you have data. You first describe it in language, then you build the tokens, you feed it into the network, and the network also outputs tokens. So if you have data to train the network, everything is learnable. So what this has created is that the number of non-learnable components in such a system is being drastically reduced, at the extreme even to zero. Imagine this network receiving pixels as input and output the vehicle commands. Right? This is an extreme case, but it's possible. And including the driving policy, including looking at different viewpoints. So all camera inputs are fed directly and simultaneously into this network, rather than each camera separately. So this is kind of the big transformation that happened in the technology. Now, it has also a downside that people need to work with. And this is why companies who are building these systems are designing an architecture and not just simplistic looking at the network with input and output, because the higher the level of integration, the less explainability the system has. So now imagine you are involved in an accident, you need to explain whether to the regulator or whether to the court of law why the machine decided what it decided. Presumably decided something wrong, which led to an accident. You cannot say it was a black box. Second, you need to guarantee certain things. For example, you need to guarantee that you'll not violate traffic laws. Mm-hmm. You need to guarantee that you'll do all what you can in order to prevent accidents. So this is what the regulator is expecting from you. Now, if everything is one big black box, you cannot guarantee anything. And we know from language models they can hallucinate, they can make, they could be very, very impressive, but 5% of the time they can be very, very stupid. So how do you handle this? And this is a challenge for those companies who are building systems based on modern AI, is how to harness modern AI, but at the same time guarantee certain safety elements, both in terms of explainability and in terms of guaranteeing critical elements of driving, which is do not violate traffic laws, for example.
I think it was interesting in the roundtable we sat in yesterday, Amnon, just to the next question, and we did ask the room how many people have tried a robo-taxi, and credit to the UAE, are really at the forefront of its deployment, but I think about 40% of the room, maybe of the 40 odd people, 15, 16, had really been in a robo-taxi. So we do have early deployment, let's say, some are more advanced than others. What are some of the lessons that we've learned in early deployment, you think, that we can apply as we start to rapidly scale this part of mobility?
Well, I would say first that the existing state of technology is very, very impressive. That means in small scale, few thousands of vehicles, Waymo has proven that they're very safe. Their data shows that they're about 10 times safer than humans, which is a very, very impressive bar to pass. Right? Now, there are several challenges in scaling and making a big business. One is there is a back office. So you have people supervising the robotaxis. So they get feed from the cameras and they're supervising. What exactly they're doing is a closely guarded secret. In order to build scale, you somehow need to reduce the number of people that are supervising. So for example, those people cannot handle safety, because then you need one teleoperator per one vehicle, and communication, very fast communications, and what happens if the communication falls, and so forth. So they need only to give high-level guidance. So you'll want to build technology that will enable you to gradually reduce the number of teleoperators until you reach to zero. That means there's no back office. I think the community is still far away from that. I think that the most advanced, of course, is Waymo, but it's still making the number of teleoperators to zero is quite far. At the CES, I presented the Mobileye's thinking, in which we use visual language models in two paths. One is slow and one is fast. The fast is about safety, so it will never violate a traffic law and never hit anyone. And the slow part is using a powerful VLM that can be in the cloud. and it will analyze complicated scenes, like, a policeman is approaching you, or something happened, situations in which you refer to a teleoperator to give you guidance, you'd like the AI to do it. And I believe that those VLMs over time, big enough, trained enough, would be able to take the role of teleoperators, and in that way allow for scale. So I think that the game today is simply scale. And I'll also mention that it's not that there are many robotaxis out there. There's only one company that has proven it can reach a safety level. We have to be honest about that. There's only one company on the planet that has done it, which is Waymo. All the rest, including ourselves, are very confident we'll be able to do it, but there's only one company who has done it so far, right? So it's still, I think there is a long journey to go through, and I believe that the opportunities are now very, very big.
Great. Maybe let's talk about tomorrow. The speed in which everything is running at tomorrow, with Menti and the world of humanoids. We'll just start really broad, but why humanoids?
Well, when you look at the AI, it can be divided into two. Right? AI in the digital world, this is what we as society mostly experience, the Gemini, the ChatGPT, Claude, and so forth. And there is the embodied AI, or physical AI, AI embodied in a platform that interacts with the real world. And there are three such platforms today, the cars, robots, and aircrafts. Imagine autonomous aircrafts in the future. Now, a car is a platform that you need to have the latest AI in order to remove the driver. You need to perceive, you need to make decisions. It's quite complex. You need to reach a very high bar of passing human statistics of accidents. So the next platform is robots, and they share a lot of technological elements. They both need to perceive, they need to make decisions, they need to generalize, they need to be safe. Imagine a robot is moving amongst us. We want some guarantees of safety, right? So they share a lot of technological components, and they offer an opportunity of a big transformation for society, taking over shortage of labor in many, many industries. So I'll give an example. So I heard a chat with Elon Musk, and he talks about abundance. So let's try to analyze what this abundance means. Today we make, again, so now let's think into the long future, not next year, okay? Long future. So today when we make decisions where to live, it is based on shortages, right? We want to live in a place which we have access to the best healthcare, to the best education, to the best chefs, best restaurants, the best personal safety, so the best, police force and so forth. All of these are resources that are in shortage, right? The best surgeons, you'll not find them everywhere. The best chefs, you'll not find them everywhere. The best teachers, you'll not find them everywhere. So now, let's imagine AI in the future. Best teachers, I think AI today can be a very, very good teacher, right? When you want to learn a subject, ask ChatGPT, ask Gemini, that'll give you quite a good training. So imagine in the longer future, the best teachers can be AI. Imagine now humanoid robots that can fully imitate humans. We're far from that, right? But let's say fully imitate humans, both in terms of the brain and in terms of the dexterity and the being able to do delicate operations and everything. So now surgeons will become a something that there's no shortage of. Chefs will become something that there's no shortage of. Police force, no shortage of. So all of a sudden, we'll not make decisions based on shortages. Right? We'll live any place where we live, we'll have access to the best healthcare, to the best education, to the best personal safety, to the best restaurants. So this is a huge transformation. Of course, there are dangers. I'm now talking only about the benefits. I'm not talking about the dangers. So this is a transformation I feel I want to be part of. So this is why it's very important that a company like Mobileye was already very active in physical AI in the area of cars and because of the technological overlap, would also take ownership of the next part of physical AI, which is humanoid robots.
And you have a right to play in the space, and obviously you want to be in it. We were briefly touching on the competitive landscape. So, trying to put things in perspective, you hear a lot about one, maybe two of players globally, one in Asia, one in the US that is working on humanoids. But when you start to dig into it, you have many players, yourselves included, working on it. And then you put into perspective that last year we basically shipped 13,000 basic humanoids. So we don't exactly have an established market yet. What do you think about the competitive landscape and what it takes to win?
Okay, so I'll focus on what it takes to win, right? So you see robots that can do somersaults in the air. I cannot do a somersault, but I think I'm quite useful as a human being that can do chores. So I don't think that this superhuman dexterity, it's very impressive, by the way, but I don't think that is necessary in order to win. What is necessary in order to win is ability to generalize. Because you can take a humanoid robot and train it to do all sorts of tasks. And then when you deploy it into the field, it could be facing a new task. Now, who's going to teach that robot to do a new task? Well, you're not going to bring now an engineer from the company and start customizing it for a new task. Let's imagine and let's be more concrete. Let's imagine a robot in a home use. So you taught the robot, how to take things from tables to the kitchen, how to build a cognitive map of the area to know where the kitchen is, follow certain instructions, and then you bring it to a home use, and the customer wants to show the robot to do something specific. So what's the customer supposed to do? So this is where generalization is very important. So what you would like to have is that the customer talks to the robot, verbally explains what he wants the robot to do, and also visually shows the robot what it's supposed to do. Now, visually shows, it's not that you are going to wear special equipment. Just like I watch another person showing me what is the task, and I can learn it instantaneously. This is what you want the robot to do. So this generalization is what is going to distinguish between those that just demo and those who actually succeed. The ability to continuously learn and learn on the fly and learn instantaneously just by imitating a human talking and showing to the robot what to do. That, I think, is the critical element. And if you look at the robotic companies today, nobody is showing something like this. Okay, so I think that the jury is out who's going to win, which I think is good. It means that this is a very nascent domain, and there is a lot to innovate, and the winners have not been set.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.